So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show at 970 WFLA. We're talking about how to be a landlord, and you know what's interesting is there's a lot of people out there, especially over the last couple of years, whose homes haven't had enough equity. So they've said, okay, I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to rent it out for a while until I get to sell it. And interestingly enough, it's a huge part of the Tampa market. Tampa was ranked number 9th in the country for the top 10 markets to be a landlord. And again, the crucial part of this is an average annual return for rent of about 20%, which is a great return considering what the stock market brings in. But so nonetheless, being a great rental market, according to Realty Track and an article from Money.com, it's important for people out there that are thinking about becoming a landlord or investing in real estate to set it up the right way. Far too often they go out and make mistakes. When they buy rental property, they don't understand, they don't do their due diligence, they don't talk to an attorney, they don't, and they can really put themselves into a tough position and open up some liability, as well as, hurt their ability to make money. I think it's one of the keys, if you're someone who's not bought a lot of property or not bought investment property before, working with an agent to help you purchase, and we have lots of people on our team that invest in real estate, making sure that agent understands what your goal is. You're not buying it because of how pretty it is. You're not buying it because it's, a beautiful home. You're buying it to make money. You're buying it for the purpose of generating an income from the property. So you need an agent that has that experience and understanding of how to navigate through that. And I think that's kind of one of those things where, a lot of people make the mistake of working with a realtor, to help them invest. And that realtor doesn't even own a home. I mean, there are lots of them. They're selling a product they don't even own, and they're not an investor. So how can they really be the right person to help you invest? And it's funny. I heard one of the financial shows last weekend talk about Googling who you're going to do business with. And I think that's crucial. I mean, there's so many realtors out there that are that are in foreclosure, that have, if they can't manage their own financial house, you get to be concerned about them helping you make good financial decisions. If their home got foreclosed on, they're in foreclosure, they're in bankruptcy, you gotta have some concerns. If they couldn't manage their own finances, how can you trust them to manage yours? And I think it's really important. So if you're thinking about buying an investment property, really make sure you're getting advice from somebody that knows how to guide you in that direction, and of course involve an attorney. I think that's, Adam, something, some tips you can give people out there about, what they need to do when they're becoming a landlord, especially for the first time.
Well, a lot of times people don't want to use an attorney because they're afraid they're too expensive, but the bottom line comes down to, if you don't do it right the first time, it's just going to cost you more money later. So go ahead and spend the money up front and get it set up right.
And I think that goes for the lease, setting up a lease, because then you've got the same lease. You can use that lease again and again, so that's an important step. If you're going to own a lot of rental property, have an attorney help you draft a lease that's set up in your favor, that has terms that you like, and you can continue to use that lease. You've got a template now that you can use, and like you said, what is many times kind of the short-term pain is long-term gain. So what they may think of investing in the attorney now as a cost, it's really an investment in a better rental portfolio.
Exactly, and there's always boilerplate language in every contract, but it's a matter of specifying certain things within that contract that really work to your advantage. They're not disfavorable to the other individual, but they're more favorable to you than anybody else, and that's the important piece.
And so other tips, first time landlord, being really making sure the insurance policy is right. Don't buy a homeowner occupant insurance policy if you're going to rent it out. If you convert a property that you occupy as a residence to a rental property, you gotta let your insurance agent know the policy. You're going to change policies. It's going to become a different homeowner's policy versus the one you have. Interestingly enough, a lot of people think that insurance is more expensive for a rental property, and it's actually in many instances less, because you don't have to insure the content. You're not insuring the contents. That's really kind of on the tenant. And another piece is strongly encouraging your tenant to have renter's insurance, because their stuff will break, or not break. Something will happen to their stuff through some sort of insurance type process, and they'll want you to pay for it. That's in the lease usually. It's not the case, and your homeowner's insurance isn't going to cover their stuff. So.
And a good lease will define what's the owner's responsibility and what's the renter's responsibility. So it's really clear.
And so other things, first time, other things for landlord, thinking about becoming a landlord, really do a good job screening. I mean, I can't say it enough. Really, really, really do a good job of screening. Consider a property management company. But if you're going to, rent the property out, you really need to know who you're renting it to, and check everything. I mean, look at them on, Hillsborough County arrest records, look at them on public records, do a background check, do a credit check, because I can't tell you how often I've seen people make that mistake and not screen properly.